Hello my friend and welcome to February's Good News Show, where we'll be travelling to all of these places to take a look at what's gone right over the last month. I'm just personally happy it stopped getting dark so early. If you're new here, I'm Sam and I make videos showcasing good news and solutions to some of the world's biggest problems. And if you've been here before, you're basically a local to the show at this point, so welcome back and do tap that like button down below. It's a free and easy way we can push more good news out there in a storm of divisive and fear-mongering media. So let's get into it. Here's some good news from February that you might have missed. And we're starting in Spain, where scientists have made a major breakthrough in fighting pancreatic cancer, completely eliminating tumours in mice using a revolutionary 3-drug treatment, offering new hope for one of the deadliest cancers. Their target is a mutated gene called KRAS, which appears in 90% of pancreatic cancer cases. Previous treatments failed because cancer cells quickly adapted when scientists blocked KRAS at just one point. This new triple drug strategy prevents that adaptation entirely. In lab tests, the tumours disappeared completely without serious side effects. The research team is led by Dr. Mariano Barbacid, who helped discover the first human cancer-causing gene in the 1980s, and has spent 40 years studying these incredibly aggressive tumours. Human trials are still years away, but these results give scientists a clear roadmap and represent genuine progress against a cancer that desperately needs new solutions. In other health news in February, up to 4 in 10 cancer cases worldwide could be prevented, according to new analysis. The study found that 37% of new cases in 2022 were linked to preventable risks like smoking, infections, alcohol, and air pollution, highlighting the power of stronger public health action. And after several years of increases, US deaths from heart disease and stroke are declining again, according to the American Heart Association. Experts say that stronger prevention and earlier detection mean even the country's biggest killers can be reduced with the right action. This next story takes us to Scotland, where they just made a huge move to save one of the UK's most threatened birds. Scotland just passed a law that all new buildings must install swift bricks, which are hollowed out bricks that give swifts and other endangered birds a place to nest. Swifts fly all the way from sub-Saharan Africa to the UK each summer to breed. Sadly, these days when swifts arrive, many now find there's nowhere to stay. Modern housing, renovations and insulation have sealed up the tiny gaps they once relied on, and the impact has been devastating. Nearly 2 out of every 3 swifts have been lost in the UK since the mid-1990s, pushing them onto the red list of birds of conservation concern. But swift bricks are a simple, low-cost fix built directly into walls. They're maintenance-free and provide a much-needed lifeline to swifts and other declining birds like sparrows, starlings and house martins too. And this moment didn't happen by accident. It's the result of years of campaigning by activists, especially Hannah Bourne-Taylor, who watched the vote pass from the public gallery and shared an emotional post celebrating the win. While the rest of the UK has dragged its feet, Scotland just showed how fast change can happen, and campaigners hope that this vote finally turns the tide and pushes England, Wales and Northern Ireland to follow suit. And whilst we're in Scotland, there was also news this month that the population of these absolutely fabulous looking courting capercaillies are up 50% over the last 5 years at an RSPB reserve in the Cairngorms. The population of lekking males rose from just 20 to 30, and for one of the UK's rarest birds, once on the brink of extinction, that's a genuinely hopeful sign for the species' survival. Our next wildlife win takes us to Azerbaijan, where 17 European bison have just arrived in Shardan National Park, marking the largest single translocation since the species' return to the region began in 2019. Led by WWF Germany and Tierpark Berlin, with support from Rewilding Europe, the aim is to establish a fully self-sustaining bison population in an area where the species has been extinct for more than a century. Since 2019, 46 bison have been translocated to Azerbaijan, with the population now breeding successfully, including 9 calves born last year alone. Today, around 90 bison roam the Shardar landscape, restoring natural processes across the park. This effort builds on a wider global comeback for bison. In the UK, European bison were reintroduced into West Blean and Thorndon Woods in 2022, restoring a lost keystone species to British woodlands for the first time in thousands of years. And in the US, American bison in Yellowstone National Park have rebounded from near extinction, with research showing their grazing helps strengthen grasslands and soil health, a reminder of how restoring missing species can help entire ecosystems bounce back. And our final bit of wildlife news is in South Wales, where the number of rare butterfly eggs have skyrocketed after landowners let their hedgerows grow wild and reduce the amount they cut them back, showing that often the solution can just be letting nature be nature. This next story takes us to the US, where a group of 18 Buddhist monks finished a 2,300-mile peace walk across the United States, calling for peace, unity, and compassion. Led by the Venerable Bhikkhu Panakara, who completed the entire walk barefoot, the monks crossed multiple states through winter storms, snow, and freezing temperatures. Along the way, they were joined by Aloka, a rescue dog who underwent surgery during the walk and later rejoined the group to finish the final stages alongside them. And the journey didn't sound that easy. A truck collision early on severely injured members of the group, leaving one monk with an amputated leg, while others completed the walk without ever lying down, even to sleep, as part of an advanced Buddhist practice. But despite injuries, exhaustion, and thousands of miles on foot, the monks reached the nation's capital, carrying a message of peace at a time that it feels like the world desperately needs it. Scene change. As you can see, I've got my laptop out in front of me, and that's because I'm about to call Ed Miliband, the UK Secretary of State for Energy Security, to hear about a £1 billion plan he's announced to help communities own and control their energy.
Sam, hi.
Hey Ed, so you've talked about transferring wealth and power back to communities. Can you give me some concrete examples of what that actually means, and how does this change who profits from Britain's energy transition?
Well, Sam, I think what's so exciting about our local power plan is with £1 billion of investment, we're going to absolutely change the opportunities for ownership of community energy in places up and down our country.
And how exactly will this cut bills for the everyday person?
So you've got sports clubs that have solar panels and have cut their energy bills. That's more money that they can then reinvest in the sports club. Community centres, miners' welfares. There are so many different organisations, so many different local institutions that are struggling with high bills. But it's not just about cutting their bills. It's also about generating a stream of income, not just for a year, but in perpetuity, that they will get from selling back to the grid, selling the energy back to the grid.
And if a community wants to set up their own renewable energy project, what's the actual process? Where do they start?
Well, here's the good news. Great British Energy, on its website, it's now open for business for communities to register their interest. So I would urge people to go on the GBE website to find out more information, and I genuinely believe that lots and lots of local community groups up and down the length and breadth of the UK can benefit from this plan.
Getting secretaries of state, experts and decision makers on this channel is only possible because you're here watching this right now and giving your support to the show. By liking the videos and subscribing, we can get access to change makers like this and hopefully help create some positive change through these relationships too. So just a massive thank you to you once again, as we're getting noticed at the highest levels, and that wouldn't be possible without you. And building off that last story, I wanted to give you a quick recap of some other updates about how we're building a cleaner world. For starters, this new report shows that in 2025, wind and solar overtook fossil fuels in the EU for the first time, reaching 30% of electricity generation compared to fossil fuels at 29%, marking a historic clean energy milestone. Solar grew in every EU country and now provides over a fifth of power in places like Spain, Greece and the Netherlands, boosted by a sunnier year, even as wind and hydro dipped. And the UK has joined 9 other European countries in a landmark agreement to turn the North Sea into the world's largest clean energy reservoir, building a shared offshore wind grid capable of delivering 100 gigawatts of power through subsea cables linking countries together. The plan would transform an aging oil and gas basin into a connected clean power system, strengthening energy security while helping Europe move off expensive fossil fuels for good. Now let's head to the island of Sumatra in Indonesia to hear about a local conservation group who are fighting to save the last great rainforest in Southeast Asia. The Loisa ecosystem, spanning more than 2.6 million hectares, over 35 times the size of Singapore, is one of the richest tropical rainforests in Southeast Asia and one of the region's largest carbon sinks. It's also the only place on Earth where elephants, tigers, orangutans and rhinos still roam together in the wild. The Forum Conservasi Loisa runs 30 wildlife protection teams that patrol the forest for half of every month, dismantling illegal snares, protecting habitats, restoring damaged wildlife corridors, and work with communities to reduce human-wildlife conflict. And whilst we're talking about protecting rainforests, Colombia is on track for another drop in deforestation in 2025, with new data showing that forest loss fell 25% in the first 3 quarters of the year compared to 2024. Around 36,000 hectares were lost between January and September, down significantly in key Amazon departments like Meta, Caqueta and Guaviare, which have historically struggled with illegal clearing linked to cattle ranching, agriculture and cocoa cultivation. Officials credit the progress to stronger collaboration with indigenous communities, environmental zoning and conservation incentive schemes. Under the government's Conserva Paga programme, more than 5,500 families receive payments to protect or restore forests, part of a broader strategy that has now delivered 3 consecutive years of declining deforestation in one of the most biodiverse countries on Earth. We've got a few stories left, but I just want to say a quick thank you to my Patreon and YouTube community who are the fuel powering these videos and giving some much needed airtime to communities around the world fighting for our planet. You can see all the wonderful people either side of me, and if you want to help keep these videos coming and get your name in them too, simply scan this QR code right here or click the link at the top of the description to join the club. And if it's easier, I've also set up YouTube memberships, so you just click that join button down below to become a member over here instead. So some of you may have seen that the idea of a wealth tax has been growing in momentum, and it's essentially a small yearly tax on the total fortune of the very richest people to help address rising inequalities. But now even millionaires and billionaires are calling for it. Nearly 400 millionaires and billionaires from 24 countries have signed an open letter urging global leaders to raise taxes on the super rich, warning that extreme wealth is distorting democracy and widening inequality. Released during the World Economic Forum in Davos, the letter argues that concentrated wealth is fueling political influence, social division, and the climate crisis. A poll of millionaires across G20 nations found that 77% believe they're ultra-wealthy by political influence, and 2/3 support higher taxes on the richest to fund public services. Oxfam reported that a record number of billionaires were created last year, pushing the global total above 3,000 for the first time, with the richest 1% now owning more wealth than the vast majority of the world combined. Campaigners say that taxing extreme wealth is no longer a fringe idea, but a necessary step to protecting democracy, reducing inequality, and preventing further concentration of power in the hands of a tiny elite. And our last story takes us to Belgium, where one individual has come up with a way to fight a source of waste most people probably don't think about. This designer found a genius way to stop thousands of tennis balls ending up in landfill by turning them into a sound-absorbing material for walls, furniture, and entire rooms, and they also look pretty cool too. See, over 330 million tennis balls are made every year, and only 1% of those are ever recycled. But biodesigner Matilda Wittock is changing that. She created Sound Bounce, where every square metre repurposes around 283 balls and saves about 8.5 kilograms of CO2 emissions. First, tennis balls are collected and hand cut. They're then sustainably dyed and interlocked without using any adhesives. This means every piece can be fully dismantled to be reused or recycled when needed. The final product can absorb sounds across a wide frequency range, from dampening voices to preventing echoes, making it perfect for libraries, galleries, offices and busy public spaces. This could help massively cut down on waste at tournaments like Wimbledon that go through an incredible 55,000 balls within a 2-week event. And that's a wrap, and this is a sandwich. Thank you so much for watching, and tap the like button if you've enjoyed this video and share this with a friend who may benefit from hearing some good news. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, my friend. Bye!